week and what it's like to be here in the CFP semifinal at the Cotton Bowl.
Yeah, this means a lot. This is a huge opportunity for us as a team, being able to have this experience to play in the Cotton Bowl, to travel to Dallas, and be able to experience this. Obviously playing the stadium we are in such a prestigious bowl, it's a great opportunity for us. So, we're blessed to be here, but we also understand the work that's necessary for us to accomplish our goals, and we're in the process of, pushing ourselves each and every day to give us the best chance and best possibility to be successful.
Thank you, Bryce. Again, if you have a question, use the raise hand function. We'll go to Chris Vanini from The Athletic. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, Bryce, just curious what you see out of the Cincinnati cornerbacks on the outside and how they compare to other teams you've played this year.
Yeah, no, they have two very strong corners on the outside. It's something that, right when we got done the last game, we start preparing. It's something that immediately pops when you turn the film on. Those are guys that have been really consistent all year, which is hard at a position like that. You watch each and every game and to see how consistent they've been. Those are guys that, our ball hawks have kind of a, they always have an eye for the football, always around the ball. That's something that really pops on film. Something that, we definitely, see whenever we turn the film, and we understand the challenge that comes, with that. So, for us, it's about stepping up and accepting that challenge and pushing ourselves each and every day to put ourselves in the best situation possible.
Next question will come from Aaron Suttles. Go ahead, Aaron.
Hey, Bryce. Aaron Suttles from The Athletic. What have you learned from Coach O'Brien this season, and how has that relationship between quarterback and offensive coordinator, how has that evolved throughout the year?
Yeah, I've learned a tremendous amount from OB. That's always a very important relationship, offensive coordinator and quarterback. And obviously at first, I hadn't met him before he got here. So, at first you work to, for me, I'm working to build that trust, to kind of learn him, how he likes to look at things, how he likes to call plays. He's trying to learn me. And I think just the amount of communication we've had and amount of honest dialogue we've been able to have, amount of back and forth we've been able to have to up until this day is really what has kind of pushed our relationship forward. For him to have the, for OB to have the coaching legacy that he's had, to coach, the players, and just to have that resume that he had, he could have easily came in and just, said, just sit down, be quiet, and this is where you're going to throw the ball, this is what I'm going to call. But for him to come in and talk to me about how I saw stuff, for us to really be able to have that dialogue, it speaks to him as a coach, and that's something that definitely helps me, definitely makes it a lot easier for me to be comfortable in the system, and for us to have success. So just for him to have that attitude when he first got here, and us to be able to build and grow off that throughout the year, I'm eternally grateful that OB's been here and helped me out so much throughout the year.
Next question will come from Zachary Brazilier from the New York Post. Go ahead, Zachary.
Bryce, what was your, I guess, initial impression of Jameson when you first saw him, and also how surprised are you that he had the year that he's had, considering he really didn't make much of an impact at Ohio State?
Yeah, first impressions when he first got, when he originally came to Alabama and came with the team, was just how professional he was and how professional of an approach he took. Someone who comes in, you have to learn a lot. It's a new playbook, it's a new system, new verbiage. And he came in and had a very professional mindset with it. He was always talking to me, to his coaches, about making sure we were on the same page. He was someone that I didn't have to really worry about the playbook, which is, whenever you get, whether it's a new guy transferring in or a freshman, that's always a big hurdle. And he was someone who really attacked that, from when we started practicing, the moment after he transferred in. He had the playbook down, really, really well for someone who maybe had his hands on it for a week or two before that. So it was really just how professional he was, and how dedicated, and the attitude he took. And honestly, no, I wouldn't say I'm surprised by the year he's had. When you see, people just see Saturdays and you see the output, but when you see what goes into it, when you see how he works and the energy he brings to practice, day in and day out, from Monday through Friday, in a normal season, and you see the work he puts in, no, I wouldn't say I'm surprised at all. When you're not able to see that, you may just look at whatever past numbers, but seeing him day to day, seeing how he approaches things, seeing how hard he works, it's not surprising for me.
Next we'll go to Charlie Potter with Bama Online. Go ahead, Charlie.
Yeah, hey, Bryce. Just going back to Coach O'Brien for a second, what was it like with not having him there in person, and how much did it help having guys like Alex Mortensen and other guys on staff to kind of step up and kind of fill that void?
Yeah, that was rough. That was really rough. not having him in person for an extended period of time, not having him on the field, for a few practices, that was tough. Someone like OB, who obviously is such a great mind and gives us in the quarterback room and meetings so much intel and knowledge, and then out on the field, the entire offense, really leading that from a coaching standpoint. Whenever you can't have someone like that on the field and around us, he did a great job of, he was still zooming in, he was still running every meeting virtually, so, he was still obviously helping us out throughout everything, and he was on the, he was still talking to us, but when he's not there in person, you obviously lose that instant feedback, that presence. So that was tough. But like you said, Mort, Tana, Montana, Murphy did a great job of stepping up in the quarterback room. Those are guys that, again, obviously OB is, who I talk to the most and who, gets all the credit offensively and deserves it. But Mort and Montana have been guys individually the entire year, guys that I'm always talking to throughout the week, always bouncing ideas off of. Those are guys that I trust completely, and guys that maybe aren't always publicized, but those are the guys who win games behind the scenes. So those guys stepped up tremendously, and they've been doing that all year. Again, it may not be what you see on headlines, but Coach Mort, Montana, they've been doing a great job. There's people that I always juggle ideas off of. I value their input greatly, and the ideas they have show up like thoroughly on Saturdays. So those guys stepped up, and we all had confidence in them, and we knew they would.
Next question will come from Michael Casagrande from AL.com. Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, you talked earlier about the Bill O'Brien and the way he was asking you to try to learn more about this offense. Do you remember any of those moments specifically, and what were those moments like, and what was the thing that you taught him that you thought was the most interesting?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I feel like we were able to kind of bounce certain things off of each other. When we first got here, really we wanted to keep verbiage, and we wanted to keep a lot of things the same when OB got here. So I think for him, it was him kind of learning new stuff and figuring out what he would change, what he'd keep, and figuring out how he would interpret the whole offense. And for me, I'd been there for a year, so OB actually, and again, for someone to have the track record that he has and still come in and be humble enough to say, hey, how do you guys read this? How do you guys feel about this? Do you like this play? How has this worked in the past? I think having that conversation early on was really big for us, really big for me, and I think that was kind of big for us learning together. And then for me, him being able to relate, everyone kind of runs variations of the same thing at this point, but for him being able to see things and put in things that he's ran in the past, and him being able to bring that knowledge of the next level of the NFL, giving examples, bringing film from the highest level, and being able to give his input on it, whether it be a route, whether it be how we looked at protections, cadence, whatever it may be, him being able to add things that he's had success with in the past and really teach me that stuff and take the time out to make sure that I understood not just what we were doing, but why we were doing in the function. That meant a lot to me, and that was huge for my development. So I think those were some things that were pretty big.
Next, we'll go to Nick Kelly of the Tuscaloosa News. Go ahead, Nick.
Hey, Bryce. How would you describe how competitive you are?
Yeah, I would say I'm very competitive. I think it's hard to play at a level like this and not be. But I think for me, I think it's about making sure that I'm able to I think I like to look at being competitive as a process. I think a lot of people sometimes can think about being competitive as, when the lights turn on, I want to get after it. I'm competitive, and when the play is there to be made, it's on me to want it more than the other, and that's a part of it. But for me, I try to understand that being competitive is not just the one moment or not just what you see on Saturday, but for me, I push myself to be competitive and understand that means the entire week. For me, I have the approach to be competitive in how I watch film, be competitive in my nutrition, be competitive in practice, all that stuff, because that's what correlates to the game. So of course, there's a lot of people that are going to be competitive, when the lights are on. There's a lot of people that are going to say, oh, on Saturday I want to be competitive. But for me, I push myself to make sure that understand that everything's a competition. Everything's about pushing yourself to be the best that you can be. So whether it's 100,000 people in the stands, it's on TV, or it's just you in a room by yourself watching film, you have to be competitive in that, and that's at least the outlook I try to take on it. So I try to make sure that I don't just single in on I'm just competitive at this time or this moment, then I'm pushing myself to be competitive in everything. And, I'm still growing in that and still pushing myself. But for me, that's kind of the biggest thing when it comes to, competition, being competitive as a whole.
Our next question will come from Bill Carroll. Go ahead, Bill.
First of all, Bryce, happy holidays, and congratulations on a historic season.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So you get to face a very well-coached and talented defense every time you go to practice. Compare both schematically and philosophically what you see every practice with what you saw when you studied Cincinnati's defense on tape. Thank you.
Yeah, like you said, that was, that's obviously huge for us, being able to go against our defense and our good on good periods, and especially, the growth you get in the offseason going against such a great, a great defense that's with all the talent and, it's so well coached. And I think you definitely see that when you turn on the film for Cincinnati. You see the talent, you see the players, and, sometimes you'll see really good players, but, you see a lot of players in Cincinnati that really pop out and stand on the film. And then on top of that, you see how well coached they are. You see the discipline. You see the consistency throughout games. So we understand that, this is a great opportunity for us. This is going to be a big challenge for us. I think really understanding really the urgency. I think, you could say our defense and the intensity that we have in practice and the intensity that we have in the offseason, we understand it's going to take everything for us to be successful, on Friday. So for us, when we watch the film, we see that, we see that same thing. We see, we see how talented, we see how well coached, we see the discipline. So we understand what it's going to take. We understand that, it's going to take everything during the week, and we're pushing ourselves day in and day out to put ourselves in the best position.
We have time for two more. We'll start with Carter Carrells. Go ahead, Carter.
Hi, Bryce. Just wondering, coming into this game, how have you sort of handled the hype and the expectations that come with being the Heisman Trophy winner on the top-ranked team in the country?
It's being able to win accolades is a huge blessing and a huge honor. But for me, at least individually, I understand that winning an award like that is great, and I understand it for what it is. It's about it reflects what I've done in the past, which is a huge blessing. But it's exactly that. It's in the past. What I won was about what I've done in the past. Was from what I did, and as a team what we did in the past, which is great. But that doesn't entitle me to anything in the future. It's everything that's a looking back type of trophy. For me, it's that doesn't do anything for me going in. That's not going to mean anything, and that's not going to help us at all. So it doesn't change how I approach anything. It doesn't make any difference for me. I understand as a just being a part of Alabama, that's a place you come for expectations. You understand what it's like. It's not something that it's uncommon for us to have expectations, for us to have whatever hype around our names that we have, but we understand that doesn't leave us entitled to anything. We have to work as a team. We have to earn everything. Individually, I have to earn everything, and that doesn't change regardless of what's going on and whatever external circumstances may say or may change. For me and for us as a team, we understand we have to earn everything. We have to take everything, and we're on that push as a team to put ourselves in the best position when it comes to Friday.
Okay, we'll take one final question from Caleb Squires from the Touchdown. Go ahead, Caleb.
Hi, Bryce. As a leader on this team, what have you had to say to the guys to keep them focused and make sure that there's no kind of COVID spike in this squad in the way that we've seen in other teams around the nation?
Yeah, it's a collective effort. It's going to take it takes sacrifice from everyone. When you think of a bowl game, you think of a bowl experience. You get to go places and do fun events, and that's great. But for us, we understand what the ultimate goal is, and as this is a bowl game, there's obviously different implications than a traditional bowl game. So we understand this really isn't the week for going out and having a great time, because Coach Saban in one of our meetings actually said it perfectly. You don't have, you only remember what you did during the week if you're successful on the weekend. So, for us as a group, as a leadership group, we had to make a decision that we weren't gonna go anywhere. We weren't gonna leave the hotel. We were gonna stay. We're gonna stay in the hotel to make sure that we could try to do our best to try to cancel out and eliminate any COVID possibilities. Obviously, we can only do that part. But as a group, as a leadership group, and as a team, we all came together and said that we weren't going to leave the hotel room. We were going to practice and we're staying in there. So we understand the realities of COVID and the modern world we live in. So that was the decision we all made, and it's a sacrifice, but at the end of the day, that's what we have to do to put ourselves in the best position.
Bryce, thank you for joining us today.
Sir, thank you.
This concludes this Zoom interview session. A full transcript along with the video and audio files will be distributed via email and posted in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic section of the College Football Playoff Media Portal. To gain access to the portal, send an email to licensing@catapultsports.com. Thank you again for joining us today.